I'm Shannon Costello, an archivist at the Briscoe Center for American History, which is a unit of the University of Texas at Austin. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to archives and archival research. When I say the word archives, many people think I'm talking about kind of a library for old stuff. By the end of this short video, you will have a better idea about what archives are and what to expect when you visit one. Archival institutions like the Briscoe Center collect, preserve, and provide access to the records of individuals, families, and organizations for the purpose of documenting past activities. Letters, diaries, business records, photographs, and maps are all examples of documents created by people as they went about their lives that may later serve as primary sources for historical research. The records don't need to be old, but they shouldn't be actively used by their creators. The word archives may refer to either the documents in a collection or to the institution or department that collects them and provides access. If you're now thinking, actually, that does sound like a library for old stuff, archives and libraries do have a number of similarities. Both institutions connect researchers with information. Additionally, a library may have an archives department or vice versa. To make things more confusing, some archives are even called libraries. For example, presidential libraries are really archives that hold the records of the administration. But there are also many differences. For one, they collect different types of materials. Archives collect primary source materials. Typically, that means original, unpublished records and documents. Libraries can collect secondary sources. That usually means published books, periodicals, and recordings. Archival collections are organized by groups who created the papers, not by the subject. These groups may be called collections, papers, or records. For example, the records of the University of Texas at Austin are the records that were created and gathered by the university as it conducted business. That's one collection referred to as the records of the University of Texas at Austin. Another difference is how you access archival materials versus library materials. Because archival materials are one of a kind and cannot be replaced, archives take special precautions to prevent loss, damage, and theft. Storage areas in archives are closed to the public. Only staff can access those areas of the building. A researcher must request materials, and the archive staff will provide access in person or through scans. Once you get a box of records, you cannot take it home like you can a library book. Archives have reading rooms where staff will provide access and monitor use. Finally, there are rules that researchers must follow when using archival materials in person. These rules are intended to prevent damage or theft of items in order to preserve them for use in the future. These rules include requiring that researchers register with the repository before entering, use of pencils when taking notes, not pens. Also, researchers are not allowed to have food or drink when using archival documents. You may need to wear gloves when handling some formats. So be sure to check with the repository's website before visiting so that you know what you may bring into the reading room and what you may not. So how do you find primary sources for your research? The Briscoe Center website contains many helpful resources, as do repositories on campus and elsewhere. We'll talk about how to conduct a search for primary sources in separate videos.